from me. That was pretty fucking cool. Hats off to Ben for making the sick plays, man. And fuck my life. That was yeah, not the most comfortable. Not the most comfortable way to die. Holy shit. My god. Like the drop hitting me right as I push out on the map. He probably waited for the right moment, right? It's a great way to play against Colossus, is wait for them to push and then counterattack and drop and stuff, right? But oh man, the timing is just so pristine, and the fact that he had the game sense there to be like, take the rocks down, and just snap those rocks. He probably just wanted to slow me down, and then my army just kept move commanding into his, and he was like, oh, I will accept this. This will be nice. I'll take it. All right, guys. So
big job. SCV ready. Caramello says now you fucking don't, mate. He claws and kicks, but gets his head slammed into the highway. Thankfully, koalas are already fucking brain damaged, so this isn't even a problem. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't tell him my race. I totally forgot. Weeps. So I'm just doing the more normal non-proxy Liberator or Reaper Hellion opening, guys. It's my new favorite opening. The two Reapers and the Hellions allow you to be nice and aggressive and sometimes pick up some really good info early. But basically, as a minimum, you get some scouting. So this guy's gonna go across, try and fight his Reaper. I don't know. We run into each other about here. Okay.
SCV ready.
A little bit late on that second gas.
Got something for me to kill.
Yep, so he's expanded.
I'm going.
Normally we'd be putting on gas right about now. I'm just going to do it to make sure I don't forget. Can we start marine production?
What's it worth?
If he does defend well, definitely can put him in a nice position.
Ready to raise some hell. Oh, that's all. Gangway coming through. SCV ready.
Alright, so that's not like a crazy fast.
Got something for me to kill. Fair enough. I'm listening.
Crazy fast starport. So I'm not really worried about
SCV ready.
Banshees just yet. Might be in the near future.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Command.
SCV ready.
Kill a few units.
This better.
Optics online. Let's go kill something. Got a target in mind.
SCV ready.
Show me.
Ready for dust off.
Gas from above.
Picking up or dropping off.
Okay. Build that. Let's get an engineering bay. Just in case. I don't know. And third gas. Because we are going second and third barracks. That's going to help give us some map control. These guys are going to boost. Okay. These guys are obviously going to jump on the back.
Add-on complete.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Talk.
Got something for me to kill.
Our SCVs are under attack.
SCV ready. You ready for war? In the rear.
This ought to be good.
This better be good. What's the transformation SCV ready. Yep.
Now what?
You gonna give? Can't hold them alone. What's going
Enemy
on?
contact.
Go ahead.
Talk to me.
Systems go. Cyclone.
SCV ready.
Channels cleared.
Okay,
SCV ready.
think I'm just going to take a third here since the early game's been so messy. Actually, nah, let's keep playing aggressive.
rear with the gear.
Since I've got a pretty fast
Add-on
stim, and I feel like I
complete.
definitely messed him up a
Where's
little
the
bit
emergency?
harder than he messed me up.
SCV ready.
I think if I just keep playing aggressive here,
Let's go. SCV ready.
then that can actually work really well. Now, I'm going to send a single Marine out to see if he comes straight across the map to me. If he does that, then I will need to
Add-on.
leave units at home.
SCV
But
ready.
otherwise,
Add-on
we're just going to do round 2 of the Cyclone drop. I've already seen that he
Add-on
has committed.
complete.
SCV ready.
Okay, let's go home.
SCV ready. Go, go, go.
Heading out.
SCV ready. You want a piece of me, boy? SCV ready.
I was going to say he's already committed to a third,
Research
right?
complete.
Who wants some? Go, go, go. You gonna get ready to roll out. Been waiting on you. This better be good. Gangway coming through. Comms open. By the number. Let's get armed and ready. Let's go. You've been waiting on you. This better Ben?
Add-on complete.
Now.
Armed and ready. Gangway coming through. This been waiting on you. Got a target. Go, go, go. That's fine. Gangway.
Ready for dust off. Need for pickup.
Who wants some? You up, ready to go. You want a piece?
Ready for dust off.
Upgrade.
This better be good.
Research complete.
Who wants some? That's fine. Ready to raise some hell. By the number.
Talk to me.
Can't hold them alone. This better be good. Armed. Who wants
Somebody,
some?
get me out of this mess.
Transformations. In the rear, piece of me, boy.
Where's the emergency? On my way. Waiting on you.
Been waiting on you. SCV ready.
Whew. So I don't want to get surrounded by Cyclones, which is why we kind of slowed down this push. Okay?
Who wants? This been waiting on you.
Ooh.
You gonna get armed and ready. And more. Go, go, go.
Mineral field depleted.
This better be good. Armed and ready. Of course. What's our target?
Ready for...
You gonna get
Up, ready to go.
Ready.
I'm in a heap of trouble. Been waiting this we could use some help. Piece of me, boy. This better be good. By the numbers, boys.
I'm in deep.
Sweet, we're not all in.
Go, go, go. Been waiting on this. Better be good. Looking forward to it. What's up? SCV ready. You gonna give me orders?
Give 'em.
Ready for dust off.
Sitting around.
Sure, been waiting.
Ready for dust off. Here's your stuff.
Who wants? SCV ready. Who wants
I think I got his natural as well. I'm not 100% sure.
This better
But you'll notice I'm just very careful with how I take my fights.
Command.
Hello, you're gonna die.
Mineral field depleted.
been waiting on. By Gangway, we're coming through.
Ready to roll out.
That's fine. Want a piece of me, boy?
Mineral field depleted.
This better go, boys. Been waiting. Who wants some? You gonna give me orders? We could use some help here. This better be good.
Ready for dust off.
Who wants some?
We got him. GG. Ooh. Thank you, Malzycam, for the 2-month sub. Really appreciate that. Whew. Keep up the commentary and the good and bad analogies. Dude, there's so many bad analogies on this stream this week. But at the end there, we were at 42 SCVs versus 23. Let's walk you guys through that opening. That game got crazy intense, but it's exactly the sort of game where this build excels. This was against Top, right? Yeah, Top's really good. Top's, you know, very high-level Terran player. But let's go right back to the early stages and talk about the advantages. So why are you opening 2 Reapers and a Hellion? It's so you can get the edge early in the early skirmishes. If your opponent goes 2 Reapers and a Hellion and you don't, sometimes you end up in the back foot, you can't scout, then you need to start wasting things like scan to scout. Even then, sometimes that doesn't reveal if they're going Banshees or not. You get blindsided by a click Banshee, you lose the game. Trying to be solid in TvT is about ascertaining what your opponent's up to. So notice stage 1 of scouting. Have you expanded? Okay, you've expanded, therefore I know you're not going for a crazy 1-base play. You know, I know that you're not going to have the potential to have a Banshee in my base at like 4 minutes. It's going to be like 4:45 at the earliest, usually. Notice that the Reaper stays on his side of the map. So even if his Reaper passed by mine, I would be fine. Why? Because I have my own second Reaper popping out and a Hellion to back it out. So even if I lose this Reaper in a Reaper versus Reaper fight, the Hellion should clean that Reaper up and at least bring it back to equal, while I'm still getting scouting. Now this is important, because I want to see exactly what's going on. Is there anything crazy going on? All I saw here was, okay, this starport is exactly the same as mine. Now, you know, you might not be as good with your timings as a higher level player, but check it out. I just look at it, and I look at my own starport, and I say, cool, they're about the same time. We're doing pretty much the same build for now, okay? Looks identical, right? Just I don't have the add-on on my barracks. This then says, okay, cool, like I haven't seen anything too crazy. It looks pretty normal. Let's group up and try to do some pressure on the front. So I group up my 2 Reapers and my Hellion. Now his Reaper runs by. This is okay. Why? Because I've got 2 Marines before I had the tech lab, and I build a Cyclone after the Hellion. I also then go for a medevac so I can get a 2 Cyclone drop. Now, if I spotted a 1-base player who was going Banshees, if for any reason I thought he was rushing Banshees out, I can always skip this medevac and go for a Viking. However, normally you should, against an expand build, have the time to both build the medevac and still get your Viking out in time for any Banshees to come. And realistically, the Viking, while very useful against Banshee, it's not the most important thing. The more important thing is actually having your turrets up and ready. But against a 1-base player, if I either am not sure what's happening or I just want to play very safe, I'll just be like, fuck the medevac, just build a Viking, leave the Cyclones at home, and just like lock down my defense and prepare, right? Save a scan or 2, so if a Banshee comes in, I can scan it and I can kind of shoot it down. But instead, I go up here, I get 3 free Marine kills using the grenade and the mobility. I back off there. Now, could I have kept pushing there? Maybe, but there was a Reaper distracting me. I didn't want to push my luck. I knew a Cyclone would be out soon. He's not going to be that greedy. So he comes in here with his Reaper, and he does actually manage to get 1 SCV kill. We clean it up. My second Cyclone's a bit delayed there. A little bit of mismacro from me, dealing with the multitasking. And normally this would be a double Cyclone drop, but instead I'm like, whatever, just a Cyclone, 2 Marines, and a Hellion will do the trick. He's going for the same drop to me. And my Reapers, I like to do a 2-prong pressure whenever possible, are going to jump up here, scout the production, see if there's a Banshee follow-up, and most importantly, pull his attention away. So the idea is if he's got a Cyclone or 2 down here, these come up, he reacts to that, his Cyclones go here, I get a free SCV, I drop here and start doing big damage. Now at the same time, he comes in, this drop can be a massive pain, but I've been building units. I've got a Viking and a Cyclone. They should normally be sitting somewhere about here because your natural and your main are both kind of the weak points. It's not necessarily one or the other. You want to be halfway and kind of see where you go. So notice here, I'm like, well, I don't want to lose my Cyclone because then I don't have anything to kill his unit. So my Cyclone tries to target his Cyclone, and notice I keep pulling it back while having the SCVs attack everything, because I don't want him to be able to kill that Cyclone. The Viking gets rid of the medevac, that gets rid of his maneuverability, and he does manage to get me just before I pull back there, and I say, fuck. Now he gets a few more SCV kills. Viking will land to finish it off. Viking's actually a pretty freaking good units, guys. And at the same time, these guys I haven't really microed much. And I did kill a ton of SCVs though, damage his command center a lot, and I go, okay, let's just get out of there. Behind this, second and third barracks is my option. But this is just an opening video I wanted to show you guys. How does the opening work? The 2 Reaper Hellion, this is it. This could easily be a third command center instead of the second and third barracks. You just follow your standard structure from there. And there's only really 2 directions you go as a Terran player. One is, hey, I have a third command center and double engineering bays, and then I add all my barracks. The other one is the one I'm doing here, which is much more aggressive, where I go, let's just get 3 barracks, engineering bay, 4th and 5th barracks, all on 2 bases, 3 gases. And only if I kind of get forced to later stages will I add a third command center. Will I add a second engineering bay and an armory, right? So you've got your macro things, which is your second engineering bay, your armory, your third command center, and your aggressive micro-focused build things, which is get full base production up. 5 barracks, factory starport, non-stop pumping units, try and kill your opponent. I like the try to kill your opponent option, specifically because it rocks in this meta where players are trying to play heavy Cyclone mech. If you can do a big stim push with a few siege tanks, there's usually a window you can hit where your greedy as fuck opponent is trying to saturate a third base, like the greedy piece of shit that he is. He's also going double armory, and he's just defending with Cyclones. And even though he built a ton of Cyclones this game, a lot of players will stop at just 4 or 6 Cyclones. Super easy to kill them. They'll just have a few siege tanks out earlier. With a player like this, even though there's more Cyclones, all you need to do is understand what the Cyclone is. The Cyclone is an early game unit. It's a unit which if you attack into in small numbers and it beats you, it will destroy you, take a really good trade, and be really effective. It's like a roach, right? But if you're a little bit more patient and wait for the right timing, then you can kill your opponent. I ended up taking a lot of follow-up SCV damage here, which was really nasty for me. I was like, shit. And I knew he had a third CC, so I was like, okay, time to push out and do pressure. But I spot that he's building a ton of Cyclones. I keep on spotting these. At various points, I spot more and more of his Cyclones. I'm using my medevac to scout around a lot. And I realize I need to be a little bit more patient and just keep waiting until I hit a critical mass of stim, combat shield, +1 marines, siege tanks, and medevacs. And that's a big part of it. Now, I got really lucky here, guys. I got really lucky. If he just shoved, I would have gone down. But his units weren't kind of ready for it. They weren't in a good position. They were kind of clumped up on this terrain. So then when the siege tank starts fighting him, and he knows there's stim, and a siege tank shoots him, he doesn't know what's up that ramp, so he backs off. But if he got in there and just killed the siege tank, he probably could have rolled me over this game. I accidentally built a Hellion there, misclick. So rather than having an extra siege tank, I've got a fucking Hellion. I potentially could have pushed in here, but instead I was like, nah, just be really careful, make sure this army doesn't get surrounded, make sure I wait until I've got that critical mass of units. Because what's he struggling with, guys? Really late production. So most players who are playing this heavy Cyclone, fast third base, double armory mech are getting their later factories very late in the game because they're dumping all their gas into Cyclones. Their siege tank count is so delayed, you can wait often until you have 4 or 5 siege tanks, and you either shove the front or you just doom drop in the main, siege up, and win the game that way. In this case, I did a nice little Viking harass on the third, evacuated that, and kind of got rid of a lot of his mining. Then I do a drop up here. All of his Cyclones just react in one direction. I pull back and I actually queue it up to tell it to drop again because I know he's going to be immediately pulled back by this army here. And this was not a great army. I did take a lot of worker damage to those drops earlier. I got to work on my my positioning and handling of that. Like my Viking not being in the air to intercept the second Cyclone drop was really sloppy. But he comes in on a terrible angle once again. Those Cyclones should have moved down here into the open, spread out a bit, and then tried to attack up. Comes in with a Cyclone flank from the high ground, which is nice, but I'm like, you know what? It's fine. You're going to clean this up, but I have killed a ton of stuff. I've got him down to 41 workers on 2 base. I've got a third command center finishing, so actually he had so many more workers than me. At this point, he was still ahead of me on workers, and then these Marines come in and say, nah, fuck you, man. They kill a ton more workers, and yeah, get him down to like 28. So then he just is like, well, let's just keep building Cyclones, try to do like a counter roll in. Everything's in disarray. And I just kind of turtle up on 2 bases for a little bit saying, you know what, as long as you're just building Cyclones, I'm fine. I'm going to start that macro transition. Second eBay, armory, third command center's finished. I'm going to be focusing on building SCVs a little bit more in the near future. I'm not super consistent on it right now because I know he's kind of all in. just from the way he's moving with all his Cyclones. And this Marine drop comes in and says, yeah, if I can get this orbital, it's game over. Indeed, I will get that orbital. And that forces him to do one desperate push to try and kill me. He's even using his red hit point medevac to try and drop on my tanks. Snipe that down before the second Cyclone even gets out. 3 tanks, whole ton of Marines with +1 attack. That's GG. Awesome. So hopefully that one helps you guys out. 2 Reaper Hellion opening, really like it. Big 2 base aggression, also really like that for breaking mech players. So that was kind of like a 2-in-1 guide. How to fuck mech in TvT, and also how to do a nice cute opening there. So